So we've got a new series here of topic. Not a new series. We have a new segment that we're going to start doing every once in a while if the stars align each time, and that is Into the Pit. Play dramatic music.
You could actually play the In the Pit part from Evil Dead. Not Evil Dead. What's the second one? Or the Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness?
Yeah.
Okay.
When they start chanting In the Pit.
In the Pit. Oh, I'll do that. Okay.
Because they're going to throw them in there with the witch thing.
I got to use less than 8 seconds, I think.
You should be able to get that.
Is that what it is?
I think
8
for
seconds.
fair use copyright, yeah. I think it might matter on context too. I don't know for sure. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to take two games that are very similar in concept or gameplay. In this case, we have Rock, Paper, Wizard, the Dungeons & Dragons game, versus Cash and Guns 2nd Edition. So here's how this is going to work. We've got 5 categories that we're going to run through. The first is theme, which we're going to... I've kind of designed these categories to apply to any game. And if it doesn't apply, so theme, if it's abstract, we'll come across that later. I don't think we'll ever do this with abstracts, but that's fine. So in theme, we're kind of talking about the concept of the game, which means what are you doing in comparison to what the theme actually is? Right. So in these games, it is like for instance, Cash and Guns, it's about robbing a bank and splitting the loot. And the concept is you're splitting the loot at gunpoint. So make, that kind of stuff. We've got the integration. What I mean by that is taking the theme and translating it into rules and how it actually plays out in the game. Because Lost Cities is a game about excavating, but the gameplay makes no sense in comparison to excavating. Similar with that. And then we've got the story and fluff, if that is applicable. Then we're going to move on to presentation. Oh, by the way, at the end of each category, we're going to vote, right? And I don't know how we'll do this yet. Maybe thumbs 1 or 2, right? 1 for Rock, Paper, Wizard, 2 for Cash and Guns. If 2 or more of us vote on one game, that game's going to get 2 points for each category, except for the last one. We'll come to that. So theme, we're 2 points. Presentation, we're going to talk about the graphic arts, which is like the card frames and things like that. The actual artwork, which is like pictures. And the organization, which is going to encompass, for instance, if you have a board in which you put all the pieces on, or games where you can organize the components on the board. There's spots for discard piles, stuff like that. I consider that kind of a presentation. These are just examples of what the category is. You can include whatever you want, as long as it makes sense to be in that category. We've got components, which we're going to talk about quality, the uniqueness of the components, like if it's something like a cube tower or whatever, and the functionality of those components with the actual game. Then we go on to the rules, and we're going to talk about the rule book, if there's examples, or if it's just written badly or whatever. The card text, which is all the rules on the actual cards, if whatever, and then iconography, stuff like that. And then finally, which was worth 5 points, is gameplay. And we're going to talk about the mechanisms of the game, the complexity of the game, the length of the game, the replayability, all those type of things. So, make sense?
Sounds good.
All right. So we're going to start off, first off, as an introduction to the games. Drink our water here. Introduction to the game. Rock, Paper, Wizard, if you're not familiar, is a game set in the Dungeons & Dragons world where you're a bunch of wizards trying to get the loot. There is a board that is basically just spaces from the door to the on the left to the dragon's loot on the right. The closer you are to the dragon's loot, the more gold that you're going to get at the end of each round. What happens though is there's these 5 cards that flip out in the middle. They all have different symbols, like gang signs, basically, for lack of a better description. It's like an artwork of a person's hand in some sort of rock, paper, scissors, lizard Spock type of thing. And on the count of 3, you say rock, paper, wizard, shoot, something like that.
Roughly.
And you point at another player. And you do one of the symbols of the 5 cards that are displayed. And those basically are going to do things like move the target wizard 2 spaces forward, and you get to move 1 space forward, or make them spend money to the poorest player. There's all these different effects, basically. there is a first player, and then that person will do theirs first, and then in turn order, they also will do theirs. And that turn order changes each round. At the end, after you have applied all the players' card or spell that they cast, the person furthest ahead or people furthest ahead will get 5 gold, and the second place I think is 3.
Yes.
And then whoever ends up getting 25 gold at the end of a round will be the winner. So you just do it over and over and over. Cash and guns is very similar, which is why this is into the pit. And basically you sit down at a table, and after you've robbed a bank and you're trying to divide all the loot, 8 cards come out in the middle, and that shows you what you're dividing for that round. Everybody holds up a gun. You load it with a bullet. So you start out with 8 cards because there's 8 rounds to the game. You get 5 blanks and 3 bullets, so you can't always shoot people. But what's going to happen is everybody says 3, 2, 1, point, and you're going to point your foam gun that it comes with at another player, and then everybody has the decision to make: do you stay in or you chicken out? So you can chicken out and you don't get hurt because there is player elimination in this if you take 3 hit points. And what you're trying to do is stay in so that you can get some of the loot. Basically, after you point, there's a little bit more to it. And then everybody says 3, 2, 1, bonsai, or you say 3, 2, 1, and you just put your gun down and back away. The players who back away don't suffer any damage. Neither the player who is targeting a player who leaves or the player who leaves, they don't reveal their bullets. So you don't know if somebody spent a bullet. So you're like, you threaten them even though you might have a click, but you don't ever show them that it was a click. If the person you're targeting stays in, though, you flip over your card and you might shoot them or not. So it's a game of like bluffing and intimidation. And then in turn order, you will get to pick one of the cards from the middle. So if you're the last player, you're going to get 8 cards. Otherwise, you're just going to go in turn order. And you do that over and over and over. And at the end of the game, you get points. There's set collection things. There's points that are worth different amounts, or cards that are worth different amounts, and so yada, yada, yada. I think a lot of people have played that one. I don't think a lot of people have played Rock, Paper, Wizard as much as Cash and Guns. But
I'll tell you right.
So, all right, let's talk about theme. The actual theme of the game. That is the concept, the integration of the theme into the gameplay, and the story and fluff. So, Eric, let's start with you. What do you think?
What we're going to talk about, or we're going to vote on it first?
No, we're gonna talk. What do you think?
Oh.
Should we? No, I think we should talk about it because maybe you might be persuaded to change your mind because you're like, I didn't think about that.
So I kind of like the integration of Rock, Paper, Wizard a little bit more in this regards. I just kind of think it's kind of funny that you're all these wizards and you're like, you're gonna pull someone back or you're gonna jump ahead and you're trying to get that piece of the loot this round.
That's fair, but it almost makes no sense. Like it's a theme. It's a theme.
Yeah, it is a theme.
And it's implemented well in the idea of what they want it, but it doesn't make any sense. Whereas, at least in, not that Cash and Guns makes any more sense because you would do one round and that would be it.
Yes, you shot that person and they're dead.
Yeah,
they don't take 3 shots.
Yeah, they're not going to stand back up, drink a bottle of whiskey and be like, let's do it again.
Right.
But I think that it doesn't make any sense with the Rock, Paper, Wizard.
So in Rock, Paper, Wizard, you're not really doing damage to anybody else. You might try to equalize money with them or, have them give you money or give other people money or, you're moving them back or moving yourself forward.
Yeah. Matt, what do you think?
No, I went the other way. Totally Cash and Guns. You got shady people doing shady things. They're pointing guns at each other, trying to intimidate. You don't know if they're bluffing or not, and everybody's doing this just to get stuff.
Yeah, I do like the implementation of the theme for Cash and Guns because it does allow you to be a shady gangster.
Yeah.
Whereas, are you really going to be a shady wizard? I don't know.
You don't have to be a shady wizard. It's more of it's more friendly in the fact that you're not really trying to eliminate somebody else.
You're rushing to get to the pile of gold first,
right.
basically.
Yeah, you just want more money. But, you're not really trying to kill
when
them
has that
for
ever
it.
happened?
You're a group of friendly wizards.
That's fair.
You're friends. But you want more money than them.
I almost need like a red and blue paddle that we hold up.
Yeah.
But, anyway, anything else, Matt?
No,
that's Eric.
That's all I had.
All right, so we're going to vote on this. We'll say 1 is Rock, Paper, Wizard. 2 is Cash and Guns.
All right.
So we're going to say 3, 2, 1, vote. So 3, 2, 1, vote. All right, so Matt and Tim have voted Cash in Guns. Eric has voted Rock, Paper, Wizard. That is a win in this category for Cash in Guns. The second category is presentation. This is the graphic arts of the game, the artwork to the game, the organization, the way it just presents itself in general. Matt, let's talk about it.
Presentation wise, I don't know. I guess are the guns included on this or components?
I mean, that's a component, but I will say that it's interesting because I think they both have a good, strong presentation. Because I'm also talking about like maybe other people walking by and just seeing it and how it presents itself. Even though there's not as much on Rock, Paper, Wizard, 3 seconds in, people are going to be like, what?
Well, presentation, if you're including people, putting these gang signs out at
yes,
everybody.
I would include that specifically because the cards are making you, it's like charades.
Right.
Like there's nothing to charades, but the presentation of people doing it is what also will draw people over to your table.
Mm-hmm.
So let's include the gang signs.
Well, that ups the ante a little bit.
That's gonna make it pretty evened out for me.
Yeah,
almost,
that's
really.
what I was just thinking.
It could go either way because you got foam guns, which are cool, yeah. But you also have this, of course, if you've never seen it played before, it's like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Right. So,
although I think
So look beyond that, though. What's the other parts that we're looking? If those are kind of equal,
like the organization and the
presentation on the table,
like just the graphics, the artwork.
mm-hmm.
I mean, the artwork between the two. I mean, if you like Munchkin, you're gonna like the Cash and Guns artwork because
Right.
it's the same dude. But I don't know. I didn't really like the artwork. I like the artwork of Cash and Guns 1 better than artwork of Cash and Guns 2nd edition.
right? Yeah, same here.
So
I don't really prefer the artwork in the 2nd edition, because, like you said, it's more of that Munchkin-y, cartoony style.
Yeah,
but the artwork on the Rock, Paper, Wizards is literally hands.
it's all sketches. Yeah,
sketches
so,
of
well,
hands.
You do have a board in that, the track that you go up and down.
That's
That's-
black with gold on one end.
Yeah, it's like a blue on one end and gold
With
and a
lines.
dragon.
It's got some lines
Yeah.
on it.
what about
Lines.
what about the character standees that you basically don't care about? I'd rather it be a solid color.
I thought
Yeah.
somewhere on here I wrote standees LOL. So I don't think it was on there.
That's
But
funny.
you're also kind of keep
That was
in
on the
mind
components.
that Cash and Guns is, say MSRP $40 game, $50 game.
Well, I'm specifically not including price in any
Okay.
of this because I feel like
so bang for the buck, though.
eh,
In component quality and presentation, maybe.
yeah, but
you know.
like
I
here's
mean, I
the
guess
thing.
you could do that in any of these categories.
Right. Here's the thing: if you take any deck builder and compare it with, like, say, Dell of Merchants, right? You can't just say like, "Oh my gosh, Ascension or Dominion comes with a ton of cards," whereas Dell Merchants obviously is a good game. From what you all said, because I didn't play that. But my point is, Dell Merchants is a small little card game, small little box, and so, but I mean, they could compete against each other really well. I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, so the idea behind this is, I just took out cost. Yeah. I mean, obviously we probably don't want to take a $300 game and go against a $50 game, but a $20 game versus a $40 game, I don't feel like is a big deal.
Okay.
Because that $40 game may not actually come with $40 of components anyway.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, this is a bunch of foam and a card deck. It's not those. Obviously, the foam I don't know if they're expensive or not because, I mean, it's just foam. The materials probably aren't a lot, but maybe they paid somebody a good amount of money to design them. I don't know. But let's keep money out of it though, and bang for the buck.
Sure.
What? This one's kind of unique though for presentation because I just dropped my water. Because, you also have to remember when somebody walks up, or if, say for instance, you've never played these games and you walk up and you see both being played, which one are you going to appeal to more? You know what I mean? That's a good way to look at this presentation thing because the game doesn't really have a lot of graphic arts. It doesn't really have, or either game doesn't have either graphic arts or artwork. Doesn't really
to
even
boast
have
about
any
anyway.
kind of organization to it. So the presentation is solely based off the people and what they're doing. So like, is it interesting more that somebody's pointing a bunch of guns at each other? Or would you look at the table to the left where a bunch of people are pointing a bunch of hand signs at each other? It is interesting.
I would think the guns would catch my eye better, if anything. Yeah.
Well, before we dive into that, think about it in your head. And you want to vote on this one? You want to go ahead and vote?
Yeah.
Okay.
You ready?
Ready.
I'm ready.
All right. Let's see. This is probably I didn't think this category would be that tough. But thinking about it that way, if you walk into a room at a convention, you see both of them being played at the same time and people do something. All right. Let's do this. Ready? 3, 2, 1, vote.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. So we're unanimous on cash and guns. I really do think.
I thought I was going to be the only one saying that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, the foam guns is pretty unique, and seeing that kind of gameplay and people yelling "Bonsai."
That's true. I forgot the bonsai thing. You're right.
Because I remember walking around Gen Con going, what is going on over there?
Well, remember when we went to Gen Con and
you had to do that to get the mat or whatever.
but I had no voice, so you had to do it for me. Which was weird because it was for the seasons. Mat.
Seasons mat.
All right, so next category is components. We're talking about the quality of the components, the uniqueness of the components, the functionality of the components. This might be slightly unfair because, obviously one game has components and the other game basically has none.
Right.
It's cards.
Yeah.
Cards on the board.
Yeah.
So, and standees. LOL.
It does have standees in a game that you basically play with miniatures. But I guess they didn't want to do miniature games, I guess. I don't know. So, if you take away the guns, let's take away the guns for a second.
Take away the guns?
Okay.
Take away the guns. Let's talk about that. I guess there's really nothing else to talk about.
No, you got cards and you got a desk, which is cardboard.
For cash and guns.
Right.
And the other game has a deck of cards. Cool.
Yes.
Same
and
thing. They
board
have cards.
with standees.
And they have standees on a board. So.
Well, you got the money, which are just little chits that are cut different, I believe.
Yeah, the 5,
or
10,
the tones,
15, 20
yeah.
things. Yeah. So. Then you add in the guns.
Yeah.
Which are really, really fun to hold. And name another game where you're pointing guns at each other. This might be, controversial to a degree, but
Right.
it is kind of neat. So the guns are pretty fun. They're orange tipped. I don't know why.
Just
yeah,
because.
but it's for safety.
Well, why not?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess this category doesn't have a lot to talk about. So
No.
I'm ready to vote.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Cash and guns.
Yeah.
All right, makes sense. All right, well, I thought about this ahead of time. And I thought that it might be unbalanced because once we get to the fourth category, obviously cash and guns has 6 points. However, the last one's worth 5. So it's basically game show scoring to where whoever wins the last one can pretty much win the game.
Sure.
Because I feel like gameplay is the most important part of a game.
Yeah.
Because you can have a really good game that doesn't have a theme, doesn't really look that great, doesn't have great components, and the rules suck. But once you know the rules and you play the game and it's awesome, it's hard to deny that you like the game. So I felt like weighing that a little bit more. And this system could change a little bit. Maybe people point out that you should make it worth 6 points. I don't know. Or some of the other, or maybe you should cater it based on the games, because obviously components in a game that, or in a topic where 2 games don't have that many components, maybe that wasn't a good category. But I wanted to write it generically first, and then we'll decide later.
Then hone it down from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about rules, and this includes the rule book, which may or may not all of us have read,
Right.
just because usually one of us read it. But it's more than just a rule book. It's the iconography. It's your special ability cards you might have. It's the interpretation of the rules and the way they're written. Is thing very vague or whatever. For instance, I think both games pretty much have decent rule books. You read Rock Paper Wizard, but I've kind of looked at it. It's very basic and straightforward.
Right.
Cash and Guns is a bifold. It's not that complicated. I will say that maybe the only bad thing about Cash and Guns is the individual player power cards. There are notes about the players' cards in the rule book that are not on the card itself, but it's more of like a timing issue and things like that. So it's cool that they're included. If they weren't, that would have been a huge knock against the game because that would have been vague.
And I would say for Rock, Paper, Wizard, there are iconography besides, you're not going to look at the hand gesture and know what that is supposed to do, but there's iconography on the bottom. Once you know what those iconographies mean, it's not really intuitive, really, if you just looked at it without looking at the rules, but once you know what it says, it's easy to interpret other cards that come out.
It has iconography and text.
It does.
Yes, it actually describes it in detail as far as like text, but it also shows you pictures of what should happen.
So you can, regurgitate that quicker than reading text again.
Yeah, so you can look at a distance and see the symbols for your target discard or gives everybody else $1, or moves forward 2 spaces and you move forward 2 spaces, they move back 1.
Yeah.
But it also says that underneath of it. So I really like that. I think that was a great addition to the game. I don't know. I mean, there's really not anything else in Cash and Guns that would be necessary, I guess, because the cards are either 5, 10, 15,000.
I mean, the only thing I can think of on Cash and Guns is that there's the heals.
That's true. If you don't,
they're kind of vague. You might have to look those up.
That's true because I just originally thought that it only healed 1 hit point, but it really heals all your hit points.
Or can you use it? Can you hold it and use it anytime, or do you have to use it right away? I mean, you know that from reading the rulebook, but it's not really apparent if
right
if
on
it's
the
just
actual
table.
card,
On
the one that
card.
gives you another bang card.
It says get it from the discard.
It gets it from the discard. Does the discard pile include any players who aren't in the game? So if you're playing 4 players, does it include all the cards or only the stuff that people's discarded throughout the round?
Yeah.
I can't remember if that's how we played it. I'm pretty sure it's how it's played, but I can't remember if it's actually in the rulebook that states that, and it sure is not on the actual description of the card in the rulebook.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see. Matt, do you have anything to chime in on that, or?
I guess the only thing I could say is that I guess once you kind of get the basic idea that's going on with Rock, Paper, Wizards, everything is right there in front of you.
Yeah, there's no rules you have to look up.
Right, you don't have to look up anything. So it's kind of just going by the cards and the actual, I guess, components and everything.
That's a fair point. Yeah. I don't think we've ever referenced anything in the rulebook for Rock, Paper, Wizard. So.
Right.
All right, ready to vote?
Sure.
Let's do it. 3, 2, 1, vote. So, all right, we all voted Rock, Paper, Wizard, which gives it 2 points.
Ooh.
Oh,
Cash and Guns has 6, so game show scoring. If Cash and Guns would have won this, there's no way, because it would have 8,
right?
And then Rock, Paper, Wizard would have had 5. So it's going to come down to this. But
did y'all metagame?
did we metagame?
No.
Oh, we metagame. Yeah, we did it for ratings.
Yeah.
Make them tied now so they keep listening to the end. About this time, we're going to talk about our advertiser. No, I was kidding. Before we move on to the meat of it. Oh, anyway, the gameplay. So 5 points. We're talking about the mechanisms, the mechanics, the complexity, the length, the replayability. All those things.
Yeah.
Which I think this is the biggest part of it, as it should be anyway.
Okay.
So, obviously, they're very similar games.
Uh-huh.
What do you think? Let's just throw out replayability first.
Replayability. You can replay either one of them. I would say that it's probably going to be all different, except maybe if you're with the same players, you might go after the same players. Someone that's with Cash and Guns, someone that you're more familiar with. It's like, Tim knows me really well. I don't mind pointing at him. Whereas,
which I think is a stupid strategy.
Right.
And people always do it.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know why. That makes no sense. I literally have got knocked out of the first 3 rounds, have no cards,
Right.
yet you were still pointing at me. Why?
Exactly. So,
which does not happen in Rock, Paper, Wizard.
no, right. You're looking at the board and you're like, all right, I'm going to do this to, someone's up ahead, so I need to push them back. Or I see someone with the most money. I want to share, pull our money together and split them apart, or whatever else. And I would say that it has more replayability because of the different cards that come out. So
You talking about rock paper wizard?
Rock paper wizard, right? The different cards that come out kind of changes the. You're not always going to do the same thing. You don't have the same options every time.
Right. You want to add on to that, Matt?
I guess looking at it, Cash and Guns kind of gets samey at a point.
It does have player powers. Let's just throw that out there because you do have to remember
Does
that.
Yeah. Is this not?
Have we not played with it?
We played with it a few times, but I don't remember if you've.
I don't remember ever playing with it. With player powers.
They are such like mine last game was if anybody dies, I get to take 2 of their items at random.
Oh,
from
wait a
their
minute. I
boards.
think I do remember playing one time with them.
I'm pretty sure you did once.
Okay.
The
That sounds a little familiar.
The knock all I have against Cash and Guns in that aspect, and it's unfortunate because Rock Paper Wizard doesn't even have this to get a plus or minus. But Cash and Guns special powers are literally all over the place.
Yeah.
One person has 5 hit points instead of 3. The other person, if they kill somebody, or not even if you kill them, if they die,
right.
you get to take 2 of their cards. Which one is better?
Or every time you go in, if there's a $5,000 bill, you get to take it for free.
Yeah.
Or
wow.
Or you're the doctor. Every time you bow out, you heal one. So
mine was if more than one person actually shoots me with a bang card, I only take 1 hit point.
Or you don't take any? Oh,
no, so
or
you only take one. Yeah.
Okay.
So if 3 or 4 people attack you, but say you're only playing 4 players, that power is garbage.
Yeah.
You're playing 8 players, awesome. So like the player powers, while nice, I actually do not like playing with them because of how far the power, ratings are between the cards, which is unfortunate because without them, it makes the game super samey.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There is no strategy to the game other than, oh, he's taking 3 diamond cards now. Kill him.
Yeah.
Right.
Help me kill him so I can get the diamond card.
Oh, there was also one. Just going back to that real quick. Like, if you're in the loot phase of it, you get to decide. You call out one person and they can't take a certain type of card. They can't take any money, or they can't take paintings, or they can't take any of the diamonds. So I think that might have been one of the best ones.
It was so annoying.
Yeah, you can just say, "Oh, it's just me and you. You can't take any of this money, and I'm going to take this diamond, and all that money's going to be mine."
Yeah. So what did you think about the length? I think they're probably pretty close in length.
I would say so.
I don't know if it's even. I mean, I guess the difference is it is a hit against Rock Paper Wizard because literally you could play round after round after round after round, and then everybody's at 24 gold. You know what I'm saying?
It could go to that point. However, there's not cards that I don't think there's a lot of cards that maybe you just lose money. Like it takes it out. So you are making forward progression in some way.
I see what you're saying. It just shifts hands, but it doesn't get removed from the total pool that's out there.
Right. So it's not going to be like, I wouldn't say really munchkin-y so it's not munchkin-y, but it's going to be in a way where it kind of goes on forever. It's
going to progressively get to the end.
Right.
But it could take longer than 8 rounds, even though the rounds are kind of shorter in Rock, Paper, Wizard anyway.
Yeah.
Because once you decide who you point to, that's it. Then you just resolve effects, and then the round's done.
Well, unless you both do the same effect on each other, then you do. I forgot the name of it.
Oh, the wild
surge.
Yeah, wild surge or
so
whatever.
You just randomly pick a card.
Whereas in Cash and Guns, the game could literally be 45 minutes longer because people want to negotiate when they're got guns pointed at each other.
Right.
No. Do you got to click? No. Mm-mm. Or you're pointing at the Godfather, and they're like, I think you should point somewhere else. Tell you what, let's work together. It's like, oh, come on. It's neat the first 26,000 times it happens, but then it gets really, really boring and played out to try to role play every single round.
Yeah.
So what about complexity? Let's talk about that. I know these aren't really subtopics to gameplay, or what I was saying is, I've got gameplay as a category. These aren't necessarily subcategories, but I'm just trying to touch on different things, right?
Sure. As far as complexity, I would say that maybe rock, paper, scissors is a little bit more complex because really, I would think so because there's a lot of different. There's a little bit more elements into it. Whether you're, okay, he's first player. By the time it gets to me, it's not worth me to pick a certain card, or so there's more things you have to think about other than just choose someone to shoot or bluff at them.
Well, but what I was going to say about that is it's like chess. I can teach you chess in literally like a minute and a half or something.
Yeah.
On your turn, you move a piece. Here's how each one moves. You try to kill off the king. I mean, that's literally how you play chess. But it comes down to strategy and tactics on how you should do things and what the cause and effect is on why you shouldn't have done that move or should have done this move. And I think that it takes more rules explaining for Cash and Guns than it actually does for Rock, Paper, Wizard.
You think so?
All right, Rock, Paper, Wizard. You need 25 gold. Here's how you get gold. Each round, we're going to point at somebody, and you're going to make a symbol right here and do what it says.
Right.
That's literally all the rules you need to know before you can start playing.
Well, in Cash and Guns, you have a gun. We're going to divvy up this loot. You're going to either put a actual bullet or you're going to fake a bullet. You can point at somebody and trying to intimidate them into dropping out. Whoever stays in the round gets to divvy up this loot. So I would say it's probably.
But it goes on from there. So there's a Godfather who gets to actually make somebody point somewhere else. Let me tell you what all these cards do before we actually start dealing them out. Okay, There's one that can heal yourself. There's one that can get you more bullets. These are all bills. These are paintings. Let me explain how those work. And then
these are diamonds.
There's a diamond. Whoever has the most gets 60,000. So it's not that much more rules explaining. I'm not saying it's a hit against Cash and Guns, but I'm saying like the complex. I guess in reality, the complexity of both games is good for what the game is.
Right. It's rather low complexity on either one.
Yeah. You're talking about
so we're talking about
0.2 and 0.3.
Right.
But I'm just saying, not that it's bad to be complex. We like complex games. We like non-complex games. I think we're pretty diverse gamers when it comes to that.
Sure.
Anyway, Matt, you want to add on to any of that?
No, I mean, I think they're both whatever.
All right. So let's just talk about the actual mechanisms and what's going on and stuff like that. Matt, you want to start that one?
What are we doing? The complexity?
So, like the actual gameplay of what's happening.
Which is better, I guess?
Yes. Or what do you like, what you dislike?
Okay, so the gameplay, Cash and Guns is, I guess, a little bit more social.
That's fair.
Somewhat,
you almost don't even have to talk in Rock, Paper, Wizard.
Rock, Paper, Wizard. But I guess they're both, if you look at like comedic level, I guess they're both about the same.
Comedic level.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
You're going to get about the same amount of laughing and everything out of both of them. But I don't know. I guess
you can't really be as intimidating with Rock, Paper, Wizard.
Well, no, because it just happens.
Right.
It just happens. Yeah.
You're going to do. Not I'm going to intimidate you that I'm going to possibly do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's just throwing symbols at each other.
What about strategy? I didn't write that down, but it makes sense that it would be on here. I'm going to add that for next time.
Strategy, I kind of thought we kind of referenced it on the last topic bit. That, I mean, they're both low on the strategy.
We're going to have bleed over on every category, but
sure.
I think strategy mostly aligns with the gameplay portion of this stuff than anything else.
Yeah.
Is there strategy in Cash and Guns?
Sure. I mean, I believe it's kind of low, but there's strategy in there, sure.
I think it's random. I think the only strategy
you
is
can
social.
play it without strategy, yes.
That's what I'm saying. I think the only strategy is social.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like
how well you can talk to people and try to get them on your side. Let's target Eric. He's got 3 diamond cards. You know what I'm saying? It's like a collusion type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Whereas the strategy in Rock, Paper, Wizard is actually, all right, well, I don't need to use these 2 cards because they're not going to take effect first. I can do this one, but if he plays this against me, that's not going to work out. Like, there's actually a deduction of what you should do.
Or even, I was kind of thinking about this after the fact, but say I have a lot of gold and you have little, and there's one that, shares our gold. I could be like, oh, Tim's going to do that card against me, so I'm going to do that same card, and we're just going to Wild Surge and do something random to each other kind of thing. So there's a little bit more strategy, I think, in Rock, Paper, Wizard.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, anything else you want to add on that we haven't talked about before we do the vote for this one?
No.
I guess we do player count. I mean, I guess they all play just a ton of people and it's fun.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've hashed out enough on the gameplay. We're going to vote
All right.
on the count of 3. 3, 2, 1, vote! Oh, we all picked rock, paper, wizard. That's interesting. All right, well, that means that our champion at 7 points to 6 points is rock, paper, wizard.
I never would have thought.
Really? That's kind of how I feel on those 2 games. I mean, it's not...
Because I would rather play Cash and Guns.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. It makes
Oh, no.
no sense.
I kind of... They're not... Either one's not my favorite game. But I think for me, rock, paper, wizard ekes it out a little bit just because of... It's a little bit more friendlier. Not much. But, you don't have that elimination aspect. You don't have, possibly the intimidation aspect of it. So, I don't know.
It's weird because I think that more people are going to like Cash and Guns better and,
I would
be able to
say
relate
that, right.
relate to it.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be more popular no matter who you show it to. But I think people are going to stray away from rock, paper, wizard because they don't know what it is.
Sure.
And it's going to seem dumb. I thought it was, dude.
Oh, yeah.
When Cash and Guns, when I walked around Gen Con and saw them playing Cash and Guns, I immediately was like, this is awesome. Let's do it.
Right.
Eric-
I bought,
Eric bust
you had
out-
one. I bought a copy for myself. I did end up getting rid of my copy of Cash and Guns.
Well, you brought out rock, paper, wizard and told me slightly about what it was.
What it
I was
was.
like,
I was like,
this is going to be
stupid.
terrible.
Right. But it is kind of stupid, but it is, it was enjoyable. It was fun type of game. Is it a good game? Maybe not a good game, but I believe you can have a fun time playing it.
Cool. Well, yeah. So that was fun. Into the Pit. We've been meaning to do this for a while.
Mhm.
We're totally going to do this with Lords of Waterdeep and
Champions of Midgard.
Champions of
of
Midgard.
Midgard.
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank here. We'll talk about this after the show, but just quickly, do you think that it's interesting to have them point costed? I didn't want to just do 2 points across the board because I felt like gameplay is such a massive thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe just get them 1 point for each vote that they have. I mean, we could talk about it more
And then just
Off-air.
double votes for the gameplay portion.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. But
We'll
point
change it
is,
up.
having them weighted slightly different is okay. Like it makes
Right.
sense.
Yes.
I like the game show aspect of it, honestly, because
Yeah.
it's like if
like-
it clearly wins halfway through, then it's kind of boring to go through the rest
Uh-huh.
because it doesn't have a chance to win. But at this point, Cash and Guns, Cash and Guns, Cash and Guns, rock paper wizard. What's coming next? I don't know. I thought that was lame. Anyway, so we're gonna move on to our last topic. Also,
Oh.
if you think of any other games that you want to see put into the pit, let us know because we probably do have to play them a little bit before we could pit them against each other.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure a deck builder will come up soon.